Well, you can see what we got done with the model here, and getting closer. The walls are not quite painted yet. They've got their base coat on, and I still have the head house, which is sitting right here, to be built. As of right now, last count, I'm over 115, 120 pieces, and I still don't have the windows and the doors cut. And so this will probably be an ongoing project for a while. But we're going to talk about painting and doing grout lines. So we're going to start with painting. So when my laser brings the product off, this is what it kind of looks like. You can see the MDF there, and it just carves it right into it. And then I use terracotta from Rust-Oleum. I think this is a great color for a beginning. It looks a little more red on the camera than it is. It's more closer to what a terracotta pot looks like, kind of an orange leaning red type color, but with the camera it picks it up red. So and I literally just take these just like so, and just lightly spray them until they get that color, and there you go. That's all there is to it. That's ready to dry, and we'll go on from there. So the next step is going to be actually getting it to the color that we want the brick to be. Now, whenever I build brick buildings, I always end up with samples, trying different ideas of what I want to do. This is what I'm currently working on. You can see I've got one here, and I'll show you how we get to this color. But each of these brick patterns, they used to be the doors that went right into here. And I use them for building samples and deciding what color I want to make my building. So, but I'm going to simply go ahead and show you what I do to get through to that. So after this dries, which doesn't take long, I then take this and we're going to pull up some pan pastels. Now I want this building to be kind of a more orange color because of the fact that is the color that I've got when I was there, in the photographs I've seen and everything else. It is a very orange building. Now the front head house is more of a red color, but this back portion of it, the actual freight house itself, is more of an orange color. So I've got pan pastels. I love using these. You can use pastel chalks, which I do have, but I'm going to be using the pan pastels. And then the colors I have this is orange, this is a yellow ochre, and a orange shade. So we're going to set them like that. So it kind of goes in this order here. And what we're going to do is going to take a sponge. Now this is from a square, and it gets used over and over again. It's nothing extraordinary here. And I just simply take this and just kind of hit it in here, kind of blotch it onto here, because the bricks are not uniform color. They are different colors. So by doing this with my MDF, I get that. So that's my base color. And then we'll take this next color here, and I just go right back into the pan pastel, and I just get it into there. And I'm hitting different spots. I'm not trying to do anything in particular, just blotching it all over the place. And then finally I'm going to put in a yellow orchid into there. Yellow orchid? Yellow orchid, sorry. Or yellow ochre, I'm sorry, ochre. And I just put some yellow into there just like this. And voila, I've painted my brick wall. And I'll give you a look at what it looks like here. Close these up. So I went from this to this. Get you nice and close with it there. Take a look at it. And now I'm going to take some, dull coat. This is a matte medium clear. And I'm just going to lightly spray it just like that. There you go. And we're going to let that dry. And now it looks kind of like that. I'm going to let that dry. And after it dries, we'll go into making mortar lines. So you'll only see it a second. I have to wait for it to dry. So I'll be back in when it's dry. Okay, so now we're back to do grout lines, and in between that time I had this out to dry, and somebody decided to soak it down with total water. So you can't over soak these, but they had a garden hose hitting it, so that's not really fair to what we're dealing with. Okay, so these we're going to deal with this one. I set this one up ahead of time. And now we're going to take this and make our grout lines. Now, if I were to put just a drop of water right on this, it's going to ball up. You can see it balling up right there. It's not really soaking in because the surface tension of the water is such that it's going to ball up. And you've seen that on models before. So what we're going to try and do here is we're going to actually use some soapy water here, and I'm going to use my what I use for grout, I mean for my mortar lines, is I use grout. I've said grout a couple times, so you obviously knew I was going to be using grout. But this is DeLorean Gray. I also have bone, which I mix with my dirt that I get from the yard, and that makes it lighter. If you take a look at the sugar mill, you'll see an example of it. That is nothing more than this grout mixed in with the dirt, and it just gives some pigment to make it lighter. So there's a tip that you can use right there. But we're going to use this this grout to make gray lines. I like to use gray because that's what color mortar is. So you can see my soapy water in here. See a little soap in there. For those of you who are tentative type of people, this is looks like it's about 30 ml, so that's maybe a tablespoon and a half, or tablespoon and a half of water. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a scoop about like that, not quite a full spoon, but about like that, and we're going to mix that into there. That may be just a bit too much, so I'm going to hold off. I'm holding off on some of it. I thought it was too much when I dumped it in there. And I'm going to take and mix this up. So this is very watery. So normally when you make grout and you're doing with tiles, you make a paste. And if you made a paste, it would show up. This is I think grout with paste on it. That's the grout made up the way it normally is. It's not bad, but we're going to make this a little more watered down. So this is soapy water with some grout in it. And what I'm doing is I'm getting it up so that the pipette has got a fair amount of this. And the goal is to put this on here. And we want the grout to settle into it. And the reason why I had to come up with this is because the grout lines are deeper on this than some of the other ones, and I kind of like my grout lines not to be white. That's really what it comes down to. I have nothing against using all the other methods, but I kind of like my grout lines to be a little more to the color that they should be. That's why I used the DeLorean Gray. And there we go. So I've got this whole thing flooded. Let's see if I can take it up and hold that up there. So the whole thing is flooded. See, it's all flooded. And all I'm trying to do is to get the grout to go inside. Now, I don't want it on top of my bricks. So before it dries too much, I'm going to take a Kleenex or a paper towel here. There's a paper towel. And I'm just going to lightly wipe the top. And I've got some clean water here. And we're just going to take this and just get it a little wet. And I'm just kind of cleaning off the top of the bricks. I'm not trying to remove water or wipe anything. I'm just trying to get enough water on there to take it off the top. And use my finger and just kind of wipe it off the top, and the water is going in between the mortar lines, which is where I want it to be. And we'll let that dry. And we'll let that dry and see how it turns out. So I'll be back in just a few minutes when this dries. Okay, we're back. I actually had to do a second layer, so I just basically mix this up again and put another layer onto it and then let it dry. So this is what it looks like now. And you can see that. Let's see if I can get a better. There you go. So now there is mortar in there, but it's not the dominant color. Red is still the dominant color. So when you're looking at it from this distance, the building is red, but you can see just a little bit of the mortar lines. And that's what I was hoping to achieve. So that's how I take simple MDF and convert it into bricks, then paint it and everything else. So we're going from MDF, the laser cuts it, base coat, adding my pan pastels, and then finally my mortar. And that is ready to go into a building. So that's what I'm hoping to do with the rest of the building over there. That's going to be pretty darn close to what the color is going to look like, and it's going to look very similar to that. The head house will be a little more red. I'm expecting it to be more like this color. So just give you an idea of what the differences between the two of them would be. And if you look on Google at the Chop House in Denver, Colorado, you will actually see this Union Pacific freight yard, although it's been shortened up quite a bit because there's a baseball stadium on the other side, but that's what this looks like. Just one tip I do want to share: if you do laser cutting and you're going to use MDF and you're going to use this method to actually color your brick, one of the things I would warn you against is using alcohol on MDF. Alcohol on MDF will penetrate it and it will swell and everything else. So as long as you stay with just the water with a drop of soap in there, and simple water following this technique works really well. I've not tried it on plastic or anything else because pretty much now everything I do is with MDF and with the laser. So I hope that helps you. I hope this is a helpful video, and if you do take a look at this, it would be, you know, a new method of doing it. I don't know that I would try this on basswood too. I'm going to be fair with you. A lot of the basswood models, basswood just is a very difficult product to work with. So nonetheless, I hope this was helpful, and I will talk to you later next time. Happy modeling.